Welcome to the JP8Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8Report with a 2026 election interview with Bell County Justice of Peace, Precinct 1 Republican candidate Pat Patterson. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. Before we begin, I just want to remind, if you are watching the podcast, please click the follow button so whenever the JP8Report publishes out, you can get a notification that we're on air, and then click that like button, and then don't forget to share the podcast so Pat can get his word out about his campaign. With that, Pat, it's good to meet you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for coming down today in this beautiful Coppers Cove weather.
Absolutely.
Well, as we get started, would you like to tell everyone about yourself?
I'm Patrick Patterson, most commonly known as Pat Patterson, for the better half of 2 decades now. I am proudly running for the position of Justice of the Peace Precinct 1. I am a Bell County native. I currently work for the probation department for Bell County for the past 19 years. And I humbly ask for your support, your trust, and your vote.
Okay. Well, what specific legal and law enforcement or administrative experience do you have that best qualifies you to manage the high volume docket that includes evictions and small claims?
Okay. Like I stated before, I've got the better half of 2 decades of experience with the probation department in Bell County, where I've worked very closely with the local courts, local law enforcement. Currently, I run a very high risk and high volume caseload, and I have to prepare for just about anything. It's hard to prepare for, but you need to expect the unexpected at any given time. I could be doing paperwork, submitting paperwork to the district courts or the DA's office, and be called and say, I need you to do an emergency home visit to verify someone's address or do a jail visit, and it has to get done. I think the JP's office, there has to be good time management. You have to be able to manage time well and prepare as much as possible and expect the unexpected.
Do you have to have college experience to be a JP?
You do not. Justice of the Peace, you don't have to have a law degree or anything. I think the main prerequisite is you have to be at least 18 years of age to hold the office. And that's the good thing about the JP's office, is that it's designed to be easy enough to understand so that you wouldn't need a law degree. It is just a normal person who is elected to do a job to serve the community and make sure that everybody's voices, concerns are heard.
Okay. Did you go to college or be involved in law enforcement?
I did. I am a graduate of the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor. I have a bachelor's degree in history and exercise sports.
Me too.
In history and exercise sports science, the goal was to be hired on and work as a teacher in Belton, Temple, Killeen, wherever I could get on. But when I graduated from college in 2006, they had a hiring freeze on teachers. If you were not currently a teacher and you had no teaching experience, they were not hiring you. If you had teaching experience, they were allowing you to transfer from one school district to another. But with me coming out of college, I had no experience. From what they stated, I had no experience and couldn't get hired on. So I took about 6 months and started applying for jobs in the area. And honestly, I kind of lucked into the probation department and became pretty good at it. And
we all know that, I wish more college people would understand, it's like a vast majority of the people who get a college degree never work in their degree field.
Correct.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that being in the probation field that you have to have a degree in criminal justice. Yeah. We have people that have degrees in psychology. We have people that have degrees in substance abuse, rehab, stuff like that. Mine's in education. My wife she has a master's degree in criminal justice.
My wife's got one, associates in criminal justice. Well, how would you view the role of the justice of the peace in serving the community, particularly for citizens navigating the court without an attorney? We're talking about law.
For the most part, the JP's office and the court is designed to be easier to understand, so that you don't have to have a law degree to understand it. Anytime someone files with the JP court, if you're the plaintiff or the defendant, there's a packet that is given to each person. The plaintiff and the defendant receive a packet, and it tells you the guidelines and the rules of the court and what is expected of you in court. It tells you to have all of your documentation and be prepared for court. It is the JP's job to articulate in a simple manner that it's easy to understand. If for some reason when the person is given the packet in the beginning and they don't understand it or they're having problems with it, it would be the JP's position to request or tell them you might want to seek legal counsel. It is their right to have legal counsel, but the court itself is designed to be easy enough to understand without a law degree.
Well, how would you ensure fairness and impartiality when deciding civil cases up to $20,000?
You want to make sure that everybody's voice is heard, everybody's concern is heard, no matter what their background is, no matter whether they're the plaintiff or the defendant in the case. You also want to make sure that everybody is held to the same standard and have the same accountability. Currently in my position, some people would say that I'm not, but I am impartial. When someone is placed on probation, they have agreed with the court to, I will follow these rules and these guidelines, and I will do what you tell me to do from here to here. And my job, I'm impartial. I have no skin in the game. I just make sure that the individual does their probation and doesn't violate their probation and does everything that they say they're going to do.
Well, with the growing population in Bell County, landlord-tenant disputes are increasing. Mm-hmm. What is your approach to handling these cases fairly to both parties?
Well, you're dealing with people, and I think it's a respect issue for me. You treat everybody with dignity and respect. But inevitably, when you're dealing with landlord and tenant disputes, you're dealing with a contract. And in that contract, both parties have agreed. The tenant has agreed that I will pay a certain amount of money for this lodging where I'm going to be staying. And the landlord has agreed that I will do all the upkeep on the property. Most people think that landlord-tenant disputes always ends in an eviction. And that's not the case. In some cases, the landlord is the defendant because they're not holding up to their end of the contract. So the tenant may bring the landlord in to answer for, hey, AC's broken and you haven't fixed it. Water heater's broken, you haven't fixed it. So it's the JP's job to make sure that everybody is held to the same standard of that contract.
Would y'all handle SCRA disputes? That's with service members, like with if they service members were deployed and fell behind on their rent, their families did. Would that protect them from eviction?
It should. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I have all the answers of what the JP does. That is why, when elected, there is mandatory training for all new elected JPs. I think that's one of my best qualities too, is that I can humbly stand here or sit here and tell you that I don't have all the answers. But what I can promise you is that if elected, I'm going to do the best of my ability, and if there's an answer that I don't know, I'll find it. Okay. I'll bust my butt to find that answer for you.
Well, what strategies would you implement to handle school truancy cases, balancing legal requirements with the need for student intervention?
Okay, that's a good question. There are a few people in Bell County that don't know this because it is fairly new, but Bell County does have what is considered, or it is called, a truancy master, which is a judge that oversees all truancy cases in Bell County. In rare cases, if it reverts back to the JP court, I would start from the bottom and work our way up. You first have to get involved with the student. You're going to ask questions with the student. What is the reasoning behind the truancy? Is it truancy? Are you not showing up for school? Is it, what's the reasoning behind it? Is it you're not showing up to school, you're late to school and don't have a note, doctor's visit and don't have a note, and then you work your way up from there. You talk with the parents and see what you and the parent can work out together to ensure that the student is going to show up and put in the work and go to school. But you also have to talk with the school resource officer and make sure that there's actually a case. Because in some instances, individuals have been put on a truancy list that they were at school. The individual went to class and said, hey, I have other projects due in this class. Do you mind if I go there and work on this assignment? And the teacher says yes. And then when it's time to take roll, they forget that they gave that student permission to go to the other class. And when they're taking roll and calling out names, the individual's not there, so he's marked truant. First, you have to figure out if there's a case, and then you work.
So is that judge? Is that a static singular judge, or does it float amongst judges in Bell County?
It used to float. I think Precinct 2 was the truancy court, and then when they hired or appointed the truancy master, that is strictly what they handle. It had taken that off the plate of the JPs in Precinct 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Okay.
But if for some reason that it reverted back to Precinct 1, my goal is to work from the bottom to the top and figure out what the issue is.
Keep it at the lowest common denominator?
Yes.
Okay.
Start with the student and then work up there from there.
Well, you know what? That is a good point, because unless you know where the problem is, you don't know where they expand to, because there might be something wrong with that child that's keeping them from going to school. And
it's not always that they're, it could be they could be getting bullied at school.
Yeah, right.
There could be learning issues, and they just don't want to go to school because the learning issue or anything like that, and then it turns into bullying, and they don't want to go to school.
So kids get shy really fast.
You need to start with the student and then work your way up. You don't want to punish or send out notifications or warnings and then start fining people off the bat. You want to start with the student and work your way up from there.
Okay. So we'll go to adults now. How would you approach the responsibility of issuing search, arrest warrants, and setting bail in criminal cases?
Okay. Search and arrest warrants to me is very important because they're all time sensitive. Crime isn't just going to happen on a Monday through Friday. With my job, I come in on Tuesday morning. I work Tuesday through Friday. I come in on Tuesday morning, and I've got an arrest report on my desk saying that somebody was arrested on Saturday at 2 in the afternoon, or someone was arrested Sunday morning at 2 in the morning. It is very time sensitive. So I believe that the Justice of Peace needs to have a good working relationship with the local law enforcement, and both parties need to understand what the other expects. The JP has to have all the documentation in hand to make a proper decision. You also don't want to violate anyone's rights. Right. You don't want to set an excessive bail, and you don't want cruel and unusual punishment. And in my eyes, cruel and unusual punishment is an excessive bail. So you have to have all of the paperwork so that you can make an educated decision on what the bail is. And sometimes you also have to look into medical and mental individuals that have mental issues or medical issues or financial issues too. You have two people. Let's say you have two people, same charge. You have a very wealthy man that is charged with murder, and you set his bond at $1 million. And then you have someone who is in an impoverished community and does not have the money. Well, the wealthy man, he can throw the $1 million out and he's out on bail. Are you going to set $1 million for the other person? You want it to be fair for both parties, and that's
Okay.
my thoughts on that.
Well, as the JP is responsible for death inquests, how would you manage this sensitive duty in a timely, respectful manner?
Me personally, I would arrive at the scene in a timely manner. When you are called to a scene where someone has passed away, it is not a situation where you're going to take your time and like, I'll be there when I get there. It is time sensitive as well. You need to get there. And once you're there, or once I'm there, I'm going to treat the deceased individual with dignity and respect at all times. I understand that every scene is going to be different. In some scenes, they're not going to be the same. In some scenes, people will pass away in their home. Some people will pass away in a car accident. Family members may be present, but not at all times will family members be present. If family members are present, I'm not going to force myself on them as far as, hey, come talk to me. I don't think that's the right time to do that, and you have to handle it with compassion. I remember when my father passed away, I was called to the house, and I didn't want anybody to talk to me. I wanted to be left alone. I wanted to grieve by myself. I didn't want anybody talking to me, or how you feeling? I know that some people are not going to want to ask questions, but some people are going to want to ask questions. I will answer any question that I can, and I will inform them of why I'm making the inquest. My job is not to determine cause of death. Mine is to pronounce. The inquest is for the cause of death. And I will let the family know why I'm making the decision, but I won't formulate my opinion or say, well, I think this is a murder. However, my goal is to treat every scene as if it is a homicide until proven otherwise. Because if it's ruled as natural causes, or everybody believes it's natural causes, and then come to find out that the person was in fact murdered, how do you go back after the fact? Was the evidence collected? Who's your suspect?
Right.
Was the crime scene tainted with everybody walking through it because it wasn't treated properly?
Well, so how do you plan to reduce any backlog and ensure swift, efficient justice in your precinct?
Okay. Day one, one of the things that I want to do is I want to step into the office and see what, if anything, needs or can be changed. Currently in my position, I do a lot of jail visits through Smart Communications, which is a video system where I don't have to physically go to the jail. I don't physically have to go to a prison unit across the state. I can pop them up on video and we can talk back and forth. My thoughts are, if we have that technology, why aren't we using it? Right. And if we can use it, how many cases could we potentially do virtually through Skype or Zoom? Also, I want to explore possible extended court hours. But I don't want to put any burden on the taxpayers of Bell County, because if you have extended court hours where people are coming in after 5 o'clock, you have to have deputies there to run security for people coming in and out of court. You have to have court officers there to take the notes and everything. I don't want there to be any burden on the taxpayers of Bell County for that. So as far as the extended court hours, those are the ones that I would look to see if they could be done virtually.
Well, how would you collaborate with local law enforcement and mental health professionals to handle cases involving mental health issues?
Pretty much the same way that I handle it right now with the probation department. We have a policy in place that if an individual comes into our office and expresses that they're having a mental breakdown or they're thinking about harming themselves, we immediately get in contact with the local law enforcement. We also get in contact with Central County Services, Canyon Creek Behavioral Health, and Cedar Crest and Belton. They have a mobile crisis team that will physically come to you and evaluate the person in your office instead of sending them across county to get those services. In rare circumstances, and I'm not saying that it hasn't been done, in rare circumstances, the JP can sign off on emergency orders of detention, which gives them a 48-hour hold on the individual in order to get an evaluation done. But you are dealing with individuals that are having mental crisis. It still needs to be handled with compassion and understanding.
Okay. Well, given the high stakes local nature of this office, what steps would you take to ensure public trust in the integrity of your court?
I believe treating everybody with dignity and respect and giving them the opportunity to have their voices and concerns heard is the first step. When you have a conversation with someone and they know that you're listening and you're not just waiting to speak, it creates an environment where trust can be built. In my current job, I build a rapport with anybody who comes into my office. I start the conversation with the only thing that's different, the only difference between yourself and myself, you and me, is that I'm on this side of the desk and you're on that side of the desk. Just because I'm on this side of the desk does not make me any better than you. Just because you're on that side of the desk doesn't make you any worse than me.
Okay. You do know with any election there's always a winner and there's always a loser, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And you have one opponent, right?
One opponent.
Is there a Democrat?
There's not a Democrat opponent.
So this would be easy. Would you, if you did not come up on top in y'all's primary, because there's not going to be runoff and there won't be November 3rd. I think it's November 3rd, election day.
Right.
So would you support your eventual nominee?
That's a fair question, and I'm glad you asked it. The answer is yes. However, I believe that I am the best candidate for the job. I also believe that I will serve the citizens of Bell County and Precinct 1 well. But I also respect the process, and I respect the voters to make the right decision. And if that decision is not me, then I respect that.
Okay.
But it's not going to change anything for me. I'm still going to work and live and raise my family in Bell County.
Okay.
In Precinct 1.
Well, tell the people why you want to be the Justice Peace Precinct 1.
I've always wanted to be the Justice of the Peace. There hasn't been a day that I haven't, since the age of 12, that I haven't thought about being the Justice of the Peace. I've been helping with campaigns since I was 12 years old. Now, this is my first campaign to run on my own, and there's a learning curve with it. But I come from a long line of public servants, and I think this is the best step for me. I've always wanted to be a part of it, be a part of this process and be just of the peace. However, no one's going to elect a 12-year-old, right?
No.
And
Maybe in student council.
I love and respect the position and the man who currently holds it. And in no way would I ever run against him because I don't want to make the holidays weird. And I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be running for this position without his guidance. And I wouldn't be here without his support.
Okay. Well, good luck.
Thanks for having me.
Let me go ahead and sign off of here. Thank you all very much for tuning in to the JP8 Report. And like I said earlier, please click that follow button and click that like button, and then share out the podcast for Pat. And thank you all very much for tuning in. And this is James Pierce with the JP8 Report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.